Hey guys, welcome to episode 16 of Nemcast, and today I'm going to be having a chat with Luke, or Negative Airsoft as you all know him. Really been looking forward to it. This is round 2 of our little chat because the first one was just a fuck up, the audio went wrong. So we're now on round 2. We've actually sort of had a...
Remind me who couldn't,
I'm taking no blame because of your boomer level audio.
Oh, that's what it was. I see. Because my impression is those faults that we had is when you were like, no, I can't allow your microphone. Just say
I'm going to take full blame. I don't really care. It's fine. I'm easy either way.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, episode 16. So what we're going to do before we get into the thing, we're going to have a quick ad break for a little thing that I've been wanting to do for a while. The guys who made our caps, which is Invictus Morale. So after the ad, I'll see you in a minute. Cheers, chaps. Hey, chaps. This is just a quick little ad break before we get back to the podcast. Now, this isn't even a paid advert. We're not sponsored. We're not affiliated with these guys financially in any way. But they have done our merch, and that's Invictus Morale. I was so impressed with the company's sort of work and how they liaised with us and how the whole process worked. I thought, you know what? It's well worth giving these guys a shout out. So they do all sorts of stuff from caps like the one I've got on, or this Tropic Multicam one. They do leather patches, they do normal patches, wallets, accessories, all sorts of custom bespoke things to suit you. So I really do advise you go and check out their website, which will be in the link in the description below, and I'll also just stick up their website here. So that being that, we'll get back to the podcast. Cheers, chaps. Speak to you soon. And we're back. So we'll start with what we said in the last one, which was retro arms. I got you the SR25 style sort of version 2.5 gearbox for your Barrett builds. How did you find it?
Yeah, it's fine.
Fuck off.
Next. Done this already.
Yes.
It didn't like the type of gears I like to use, and it didn't like... I had to make... I wanted to prove we don't need like... If you've got countries that are using full auto on 12 to 1 and 13 to 1 gears at 3 joules, and their gears are surviving just fine with the correct build, why are we not just taking advantage of that for our UK low power and going, I'm going to make 13 to 1 19 tooth DMR gears? Like, why am I not going to do that? And that's why I did. And then I realized the casing just doesn't like ZCI gears. And that wouldn't be an issue. The ZCI's quality was fucking awesome. Then it fucking came down, and then it stopped and went back up again. It's a bit all over the place depending on where you get it from, because now, and I've been cited as the person where everyone's going, oh, ZCI this, and people are spreading the word. Let me lean back. Oh, I've just had more tattoo done. It's a bit fucking sore. So I'm going to lean back. There we go. Look, well, put that there. I'm going to lean back. Guy goes into a butcher shop and he says, I'll have a pound of bacon, please. And the butcher goes, lean back. A pound of bacon, please. So...
The shit tier jokes begin already.
My favourite shit joke is my favourite. It's, guess who I bumped into in the optician the other day? Every cunt.
Fuck's sake. This is going to be a strong one, isn't it?
Yeah. I've had less to drink this time. So 13 to 1, 19 tooth. I built it all, and the gears were not gonna. They just didn't like the casing. The way bad shimming. Yeah, you're compressing the gears together, or they're too far away from each other, or you've got the bevel gear too high, too low for the pinion, but no one thinks about what happens if the gears are too close or too far away.
Yeah, the axles are too close together.
Yeah, and there is no amount of shimming. Another tech I speak to a lot, Jimmy, last night, he was like, fuck, I've got a SEMA M14, it's just not having it. It's not having it. No matter how I shim it, no matter what I do, it's not having it. And, SHS gears, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but there's knockoff SHS gears, and in certain builds, they're infinitely better than the real SHS gears. Yeah, and
there's so many variables and tolerances you have to sort of account
for.
They're
not meshing. You want them to mesh like this, but if they're meshing like that, that's a problem. If they're meshing like that, that's a problem. This is where you get stripped gears. And this is what I'm learning as well. You look at the they're the cheap gears and whatever you get in the generic stuff. So the cheaper Spetner arms, Aries, and it's cheap sintered gears. But why aren't they breaking now when the process is exactly the fucking same? It's the same gears in different gearbox cases. It's the same gears in the Aries as what it is for the bevel gear and the spur gear. It's very, why are they breaking in that? It's because the casing's fucking shit. And if you get the casing right, you've got less problems. And so,
notably. I mean, I tried. So at the same time when I ordered those gearbox casings for you, I ordered one of the pre-built Retro Arms gearboxes, the green one, so the 350 FPS version, and it's supposed to be a drop-in gearbox. Now I do like the Retro Arms, I can't complain. That for what they're doing, for the size setup they are, I think they're doing an admirable job. However, I have found teething problems with that green gearbox I do, mostly this. So this is the sector gear out of it. It came pretty short-stroked and whatnot. Short-stroking, the quality of it was fine. But I don't know if you can see in the video, it's missing the tappet plate pin.
Yeah.
Completely, just sheared off randomly. The gun was running okay, and then a few semi-auto shots. I hadn't re-shimmed it or anything, I just literally popped it in. And started misbehaving, and then all of a sudden I went, I'm going to have to go in there.
A tappet plate cam is the simplest part of it because it's the simplest part of what they're doing. It has to be it doesn't matter if it's slightly too high, too low, left, right. The average fuckboy is not going to notice that is out of spec. For many years, I didn't realise that the SHS gears I had in certain gearbox cases, it wouldn't pull the tappet plate, but you couldn't use a delayer because the delayer just gave it too much, and you'd go, why? Then you realise they've overlooked that thing, and you look at everyone else's, just get a steel rod and wham it through both sides, stake it in place. You don't need to machine a piece on there. It's so easy to overlook a little thing. Now that gear's useless.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be so bad if it was an 18-to-1, but for some reason, they've put in the lowest power gearbox, they've put 13-to-1 ratio gears in there. So you're just asking for more problems, surely. You'd think with the weakest spring and whatnot, you'd go for a higher ratio gear for a slower rate of fire for reliability's sake. Because you're literally giving these pre-built gearboxes into, could be any Ming Mong. They're going to stick in a gun, stick an 11-1 in, and see what happens. And, well, you get problems like this.
Yeah.
I mean, the sector layer chip was ruined. And
how many times have you heard as well, take the sector layer out, take the sector layer out, you've got to take it out or it'll just come off. And it's like, this is because the speedy boys from back then who basically don't do it anymore because their guns went wrong, their thought process was like, well, the sector delay chip slows everything down, keeps everything going forward much faster. And it's like, okay, that's great, but you've clearly not done the many AKs or a fucking M14 where you need it to pull the way back, and if you don't put a sector delay in there,
there's like not enough time for the BB to feed up.
Yeah.
And some guns, the mid caps just aren't an option. I mean, I've got a prime example of that. I've got the LCT AS Val. I know you fucking hate them, but it's my sort of unicorn gun.
Yeah, it's like and I nearly said a bad word. I'll go with slow child. It'd be bad if they're retarded, wouldn't it? You'd be able to use that.
No, they definitely couldn't use retarded.
It was like they've drawn a Lego AK from memory. It's fucking awful looking things. I get why they exist, but
how do you want your AK? Square as possible.
Yeah. How do you want it wrong?
It's just heavy, square, uncomfortable, but cool.
Exactly.
It's like I've got a calico on order. I love calicos. They're just ugly. There's just nothing nice about them. Just calico.
You have to call it the wrong name. Calico. Call it the wrong name. You have to. Like Mokio Tarui, you've got to do it.
But you soon realise, like I said with the Val, the mid caps are just the dog shit.
Yeah,
they're just dog shit. The high caps work fine.
Yeah, I've had the EMP1
battle and
EMP1 mids that have turned up recently, and they've actually worked, and I couldn't believe it. And then
they changed the springs on them as well.
No, they worked, and they actually fed, and the power was fine, and then it then started double feeding into the hop unit, which you then go, well, it must be a tappet timing spring rubber feed issue, barrel cleaning dirty bio, and it's not. It's because it's now feeding at that proper force, and it's just pushing
Yeah.
the extra BBs in. There's nothing to retain it. Your system's now got to be running faster. And it's like, now I've got a new issue. They all feed. The power's always the same, but now they double feed. Oh, good. Oh, joy. But the ARP9 EMP1 mags are fucking brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. No issues.
I've not come across many ARP9 mag problems. I mean, I
spend a lot of time coming across ARP9s.
Thankfully, I don't too much because I just don't like the look of them. It's just a personal
Think about
preference.
I'll give you a moment
if I do get
what
them,
just
I
happened
extend
there.
the front
Give
end.
you a moment. Coming across ARP. There we go. Jesus Christ.
Look, I'm slow. It's been a long day.
I know. How's that AAP
You're dealing
you
with
had?
people with room temperature. Don't.
How's the
I keep
AAP?
getting them across my bench.
£600 AAP. How was that? How did that go for you?
Yes. I've put it on the bench today, and I've gone. I'll look at it today. I had a look at it and went, it's the hammer sears and all the things, and I went, just put it back to stock and it'd work, and I know it'd work.
No. Where you've got the disconnector, you have to file it down. Fuck off, file it. You need that to go down, you jeb end. You need it to go down.
There's a lot of with things like that. It's a lot of tolerance issues. You've got a cheap gun.
Yeah.
You're whacking aftermarket
you
parts
make
in.
the
They're not all the
parts, the
same
worse it
brand
gets.
aftermarket parts. They're all random. And yeah, it's not like an AEG where you can go, right, it's obviously that. You've got infinite levels of testing to do with an AAP because you forever whip. Oh, don't. Don't like them. I'm getting to the stage where I'm thinking about stopping doing them.
I won't take them in. I took one in because the guy stuck it in the box anyway. I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll have a look. And again, it's got everything cow, everything by every company, all CNC, this. And I'm like, if you've got like a Mazak disconnector and hammer set, and the little roller and all that shit, the valve reset and all that shit. If you've got all that made of just Mazak and it's running on the inside of the blowback housing, which is Mazak, it's going to work. If you've got a lightweight aluminium, and they can call it 7075 aluminium all they want to, aircraft grade, they fix EasyJet planes prior to fucking takeoff with gaffer tape, all right? I think you can put the word aircraft or fucking, it doesn't matter.
Don't drop Boeing in there so we might get knocked off. Anyway.
I don't do it. I don't watch the news, so I'd actually know what that means, but I don't know what that means. My fucking head just bursts in a second. If you've got that lightweight aluminium, which is no matter how you stretch it, it's a soft material. And you're running that across steel hammer counterparts and disconnectors.
Yeah, it starts to wear.
What's going to happen? Steel everything, aluminium everything, Mazak everything. Don't mix and match. It ain't going to work. Not for long, anyway.
I'm still trying to cross the bridge of why even bother. It's, you can pick these things up at, say, what, about 90 quid, are they?
Yeah.
100 quid?
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
Probably
and
delivered.
That's the thing. But the reason is,
it's literally a throwaway pistol. It's what they're built to be.
Why did anyone ever 3D print a thing for an AAP? Because one person, one of the first videos you ever saw said do the thing. So you do the thing and you did the thing, and because you've done the fucking thing, that's what's happening. You've done the fucking thing.
Yeah. I mean, I get the reason I started taking on the odd AAP was because they became incredibly popular, because they were cheap, and you could print a body kit for them. And I thought at the time, fair enough.
Externals, fine.
You can't afford a Chris Vector, fair enough. You can run a Chris Vector body kit off for an AAP, dead cheap. Within reason. Say 100 quids for the kit, all in, a few hours of my time, I can run it off, and you've got something that looks and functions very, very similar to a Chris Vector, a couple £100 less. Fair enough. But then they start fucking with the internals, and
you don't want to mess with that. 130%, 180% nozzle springs, aluminium nozzles. It's like,
I mean,
I get the people who say, I don't like aluminium pistol grips on motors or with motors in, because I feel that they are really containing the heat. I find they get a bit hotter, and people have gone, that's not how physics works. So that's why I put it in a video saying, this is going to get too hot because aluminium, because obviously physics means the metal is going to dissipate. The plastic is going to And that's why they have metal heat sinks now on the bottom of AEG pistol grips. It's going to draw the heat out, right? However, if that's the case, why are we now running an aluminium loading nozzle, which is having a refrigerant gas in it? It's going to get colder. It's going to hold the cold for longer. You know, this is why the plastic AK mags with the metal inserts, GHK ones, they just work better than the full metal one because it's containing the cool for longer. You know, but
you see, I don't really touch. I don't actually tend to touch gas really, within reason. My sort of thought pattern on it is, if you've got a fucking gas gun, you need to know how to maintain your own gas gun because they need regular work. They do. It's not like an AEG where you can build a really nice AEG, chuck it in a box for a year, take it out of the box.
Run that motherfucker and it goes. Yeah.
And you just use it, abuse it, keeps running. Gas, a whiff of dust, and it's got grit in the trigger, and it's really sad. And you go strip it, looking at Dom.
But there's people who are going to say you're wrong, I'm wrong. But you know,
naff, and got sand in it, and then he had to run it under the tap to get the sand out. That was an amusing one. But no, it's with stuff like that. I'm trying to avoid gas nowadays. They're one of the few exceptions I'll make.
As much as most of my collection is gas stuff because it's what I love. You are kind of outgunned with it, whether you like it or not. And the gas blowback players, they do tend to be the grumpier players because they are getting humiliated by everybody because they're not as good as they think they are. And gas guns just aren't as good as people think they are. We know the MWS is fucking amazing. Is it as accurate and consistent as anything else that is not a gas blowback? It's just not. That's the end of conversation. It's just not.
I'd say I've seen really well graded. My mate Dom's MWS that he had. He changes rifles every fucking second week. He's so picky. But he'll get an MWS. It runs really good. Hops a 3.2, 3.6, whatever. Name it, heavyweight BB. And then you get an AEG, and it fires very similar. Very, very similar. Like, acceptable quality. But then you get Timmy the Rental with a G36 with a couple of high caps.
If they're holding that trigger down.
Outgunned. Doesn't matter how accurate your gun is, how far it shoots. If Timmy gets up to you close with his blue hoodie, you're fucked.
And if you're the last person, and it all relies on you, and if I'm the last person, it all relies on me, I'll do it myself. That's the end of it. I'm not getting fucked up by all these people. No way. I'm not stupid. So if you're the last person, you do care about the game. And you do care about the points, you do care about winning, and you've got to put down mag after mag after mag of your MWS after 5 or 6 mags against even one rental player. He hasn't got the range and accuracy on you. He can fucking do this. And who's winning? Because your gun's gonna cool down, man. It's going to.
Reloading out of a bag of BBs on the field, dropping them everywhere, scooping them off the ground, and his rental.
Heaven defend if you go up against somebody who's got a fucking support gun where you can. I mean, back in the day, top M60s and top 249s. I need to reload, and that's it. Fucking out they come. You can just keep pouring them in all day.
I've never seen them. I mean, I think Raresoft deals with that sort of stuff, but I just get the odd thing across my bench from him.
They're not good, guns, but it's a hopper system. It's gravity feed, so they often don't feed. But the BBs do just fall in from the top of the gun. You just fill the top of your gun up.
It's more of the thought that counts, Job.
There's no thought.
Now, moving on from the MWS, that gets us onto TM. We'll go into rifles that we dislike. What rifles do you turn away? Because I'm guessing the TM MWS is one of them. I
turn down if somebody's already got a TM, so they've already gone out. And as much as I've said, if you buy a Snow Wolf AEG, the Steyr, you go buy the Snow Wolf Steyr, it's not going to have the range. It's not going to have the rate of fire. It's not going to compare to a TM Steyr. However, when it comes time to make it good, and you want to make it better, you got to change the bushings? Nah. You got to change the gears? Nah. Has it got a quick change spring? Yeah. You got to change the piston? Yeah. Do you have to change other parts? Nah. With a TM, if you're going to crank it, do you have to change all of that? with the gun twice the price already?
Things.
Do they look as damn it identical?
I had to literally stop work the other day to make a little video to send it to one of these group chats that I'm in, because someone said, "Oh, you know, TM's decent guns," and I went,
"They are?
No, it's not. No." So I went over to my box of sector gears, because I have, like, you know, everyone's got a box of just gears, and I keep one TM sector gear, you know, the recoil one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just keep it to one side because
so
it's a regular occurrence. I'll pull one out, and the release tooth is just about gone.
Yeah.
Because they're made of the finest Chinesium. That release tooth is just designed to wear, and that's on out of a stock gun.
That is purposefully manufactured Japanesium. It's designed so that you can get the parts cheap and easy in Japan. Guess what? All those three things don't exist here. And you can just change it out, and you can't crank the power. It's perfectly designed. I've gone on record to say, apart from the gas shotguns, the M870 series anyway, TM guns are always good. But should you fuss with them? No. How did I learn anything about tech stuff? Well, the only thing we have is TM.
Yeah, so that's their main saving grace. They're the ones who sort of came up with the idea.
Yeah.
What I find strange about the whole thing is, considering they came out with the version 2 and all the OGs of Airsoft who did it really well with AEG, they seem to have actively moved backwards in quality for what you get.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, obviously they're limited by the 300 FPS.
When you've got a system or a system in place in Japan where everything has a maximum power of exactly the fucking same, you can use anything you want. And that is why the TM VSR10 is so bastard good, because it's meant to run at that power and it will take people out really easy. And it goes, you must have a long barrel for accuracy. Fuck off, VSR10. Pistol barrel, tiny barrel. And what's it made of? The same shitty aluminium pressed Kit Kat wrappers as fucking the Mark 23, but also the shittest barrels G&G do, because that's what it's made of. And it's designed that you can't hurt people, you can't break the law.
Yeah.
It's perfect. When you mess with it, you upset the balance. It goes back to the gas thing. And this is where people go, if you've got a TM recoil, if you've got a set of gears available to you, CNC'd steel, or even, even sintered steel, if the gears are 25 quid, but your TM recoil is so expensive, you're going to gravitate towards the Prometheus and the Lilacs and all that. You're going to.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that I know and I'm not talking about the UK, but other countries, I talk to techs all over the fucking world, and I tell them I'm not recommending you because I don't recommend anybody. You look at they always say the same thing, and that is, I've got a TM recoil, it's got Promi gears in it, and it's running at about 1.3, 1.4 joule, and there's not a mark on the gears after 30,000 rounds. And I've gone, okay, but I've reshimmed a fucking Aries with standard gears, and I've done 500,000 rounds, 200,000 rounds. Who cares? There's no marks on the gears, and that is because they've meshed properly, and I've done the job properly. That's why there's no marks on them. Because I see the same fucking idiots with normal TM guns buy the TM gun. You must buy the TM gun and buy a tier upgrade of this and this and this. You must have this as the best, but now put all this stuff in it as well to make it the bestest best. And because they've not done a good job, of course it's fucked. Of course it is. If you've done a good job, of course your Promi gears have lasted. Of course it has.
Yeah, I mean, it's the... I find most people who go to TM and GRS are purely going for the recoil system. And
it's got the weakest recoil system, but that's kind of why they do last longer than KWA, BTS, and Bolt. It's why they last longer.
I personally prefer, if someone says I want a recoiling gun, it's a generic M4, pick M4, generic. And they go between, I'm looking at this TM or this KWA, I'll say get the KWA.
I do as well.
Because it's going to cost you a couple £100 less.
Yeah.
And you can upgrade it for a couple £100 less.
Yeah.
So with the TM, it's going to cost you, say, £1,200 all in. By the time you've done with the fucking Promi gears and the this and the that, or the KWA, which pretty much just slap a warhead motor in the base of that with say, sometimes the Titans get along with it, sometimes they
Sometimes
don't.
they don't. Oh my god,
So
and that's the thing as well. I'm going to cut you off on that one because I've got somebody, he's just returned a gun to me. Another tech built it, and then it was repaired by another tech who's come to me out in the past, and the tech has taken out a very expensive motor and replaced it with a £5 SEMA, but don't worry, I did it for free. They've missed a couple of issues that I didn't notice instantly, but I did notice, unfortunately, in front of the customer. Fix those issues. But the thing is, the very first person to work on it is they've put a Titan in it, and it just keeps overheating. It just keeps misleading.
This is just a problem I have with Titans.
They're not good.
I've managed to. It took me fucking ages, mind you. I wouldn't recommend anyone do it, but I fit the Jeftron in a Titan before. I literally had to get the casing on a milling machine and fuck about. Yeah, but someone had a Titan in there, and they went, "Oh, it keeps misbehaving." I went, "It's fine," because I know the mechanical trigger on the Jeftron. You have to actually click the micro switch.
You can keep this running because I'm stupid. I've got to put in a backup plan because you're bloody bastard, silly fucking cunty bastard fucking cunt. I'm still here, I mean, I don't care. Sorry, children, I'm back again.
So, what I ended up doing was saying, well, it's because it's got the optical thing for the trigger. I thought maybe it's just because it could use a mechanical trigger. At least that way, if it's hitting the micro switch, it's going to be a little more reliable.
Yeah. And
instead of picking up the gears that way, it's picking up off the cutoff cam. A little more reliable system. I prefer the cutoff cam sensor myself. And I managed to get the Jeftron to fit it after watching a couple of people who've done it online. And yeah, it does seem to fix it. Would I recommend going down that route? No. It's a dickhead of a job.
There's a couple of videos online of how to make a parent hybrid fit inside a KWA. And if you follow that guide, which everyone seems to do, it will fly. If you follow, if you follow that guide, it's not accurate because it might not be right. There's little things you've got to do. And people like myself, it's where I stroke my massive shaft. We can put anything and anything if we want to. I've put a gearbox in a spring.
It's just how much time you want to spend doing something.
Do you need to? If you want a really good thing, you want a unique thing. How many unique things have I made? My fucking H car. No one's done that.
Yeah.
No one. But
big fan of that, by the way.
Is it worth it? No, of course it's not fucking worth it. I did it to literally shine my purple monster, and that's it. No other reason.
You'll never get any. That's the problem, isn't it? You optionally take a hit on things like that just to prove a point. When you go, no, it's happening. No, it's happening. Whether I like it or not, I'm going to get it done.
Yeah.
And you just sort of see your arse and go, no, fuck it. It's going to go in.
I think the KWA, whether it's the Eve or whether it's the Recall, no matter what KWA it is, it's always the same for me. And that is, I know exactly which parts I'm changing. I know exactly which parts I'm modding. And I know which parts I'm leaving the same. Because the KWA system is so deliberately flawed. When they made their Gen 2 tappet plate that takes any nozzle, I was over the moon. And they took it away again. You wankers. You can't do the things. Why is there a scoop on the bottom of their nozzle? Why? They realised that water didn't fucking fit, and that's the end of it. So that's that. And this is why I do the same things. I had to contact another tech and go, I can't get up to power on 11.1. I've tried everything. And the other tech has gone, it's Sam Liggett, King of Airsoft, he's gone, take that off of that, change and put a thing on that. And I'm like, that's it, fixed it. But I did something else as well, which I do to every AEG. And I don't tell people what it is because it's my own little secret, but it's obvious when you think about it. There's one thing I do to every tappet plate, regardless. Fuck it, who cares? Cut the fin off like it's a DSG. The only reason the fin is so bloody long, the only reason it's so fucking long is to make sure that you can't run too high a rate of fire and bring the power in. That's why TM designed it that way. You don't fucking need the fin.
What I tend to do now is put what I'd call like a modern version of a sector delay on most sector gears, not all, but most.
Yeah.
Where it delays on the back edge, but not on the pickup. And then trim the tappet plate down and make sure it can go all the way forward without, like you said the other day, without it hitting the centre shaft.
If you've got the standard tappet plate and the standard sector gear, it's probably going to be fine unless it's an M14, in which case the Seymour M14s, even they, you'll find the tappet plate is not going all the way forward, and that's an issue. And it takes you a while to figure this stuff out, because it's less than a millimeter, but you realise this is why you're using a 21.1 millimeter nozzle, not a 21.2, because you realise then you put your brain in that place. This is why we're doing this thing, but this is why we've got so many this is why the KWA is always the same thing for me. And other techs ask me questions, and I try and help them out, because some are cunts, so I won't help them, I ignore them. Some are really nice people, and I will help them. And the same thing, you get techs who don't like me. If I were to ask a question, that would be ammo, and everyone's got a question. Every day I get a question.
Yeah, this seems to be a running thing in the community. If you ask a question out of sort of, I'm not sure whether this is right or wrong,
but do this anyway.
Someone saying, "Don't worry, dude, this is what I do," they just shit on you instead.
Yeah.
And it can become quite unpleasant. This sort of like, what would the word be?
I'm sure the nice bartender over there,
everyone has to try.
You ask him, how do you make this perfect drink? He's got the way that he thinks is the best way to do it. This is the best way to make this drink. But it's down to the person's individual taste. Some people would rather have, they'd rather have a knockoff. They've taken away. They're discontinuing Old Jamaica ginger beer. Being discontinued. I can't believe it. So. Would that make a difference to flavour? Yes, it probably would. But is there someone out there who's willing to have the cheap £9 fucking vodka from Aldi versus the really expensive nice vodka from the shop for 40 quid? There's the people who do recognise the difference. And this is the thing with changing the little parts. And some people don't want to understand that. Well, even in ingredients, this is why why is a filter coffee, even though it's the same beans, the same water, and the same milk, why is a filter coffee 99p at Pret at the moment? But if you want Americano, it's nearly £3. Why? The time it takes to make the flavours perfect.
Yeah.
And that's what the bartender does. He puts everything in the right place at the right time. I'm being nice about you. Did you hear that? It was good, wasn't it? And that's what you do. You do the right thing. You say the right thing. And you put the right thing in the right place at the right time. Yeah. And this is what people don't understand, because what works for me on this now might not be the option tomorrow. And again, this is something else we're going to touch on, and that is the things that I just fucking hate working on that you used to love. And I've just spent 4 days doing 2 GMP AEGs. And every time I get a GMP, I know it's going to end with me going, I'm never doing a fucking GMP again, because I've seen what other techs do to a GMP, and I've seen, the BBs are definitely coming out the front. Yes, the power is fine. Is the rate of fire slow? It's quite slow for what's in there. What's the noise like? Oh my God, you can hear it over a truck. My friend Ollie, his stone, he loves his GMP Stoner, he loves it. But you can hear it on top of a fucking 60-year-old military truck when the truck is driving. It's noisier. It literally sounds like a whole pile of kittens going through a mangle one after the other on a repeated cycle. I'm sure this is what the KFC factory sounds like when the little tiny yellow chicks with no beaks and no fucking feet fall into the mulcher. It's awful. You don't want to hear that sound, but they were okay with it. The BBs come up the front. He's more than happy, because yes, they do. And that's the end of the conversation. Yeah. I am not letting that off my bench fucking sounding like that. The job is done. No. The job is finished. The BBs come up the front. It's faster, quieter, drawing less amps, going further, going straighter, everything's better. I'm not letting it off my bench like that, because the person over there, they're going to be very pissed off that you've shot them so far away with so many follow-up shots. But the people next to you are going to hear the thing that person built, and they don't want to fucking hear that, and it's a joke, and that is not leaving my bench. And that's why I've just taken fucking 4 days to do 2 fucking GMP classic M16s, because they were a dick. And every time you fix one little problem, because you don't realise that the tappet plate is minutely longer. And so if you change up the gears, you've got problems. So you try to get as many parts standard as possible, and then you realise the tappet plate where it joins onto the nozzle is minutely shorter. It worked out like actually it wasn't minute, it was like 0.6 millimeters. It was a fucking lot shorter. Mm-hmm. And so the power was really low. And it's like, right. And every time you fix one problem, you can't just throw high-speed gears in them, because they only take 18-to-1s. So you have to mill out the gearbox casing. You don't want to do that, because the guy's only got this much budget. The more the person spends, the more they expect. You know, if he's paid £1,000 for some work to be done, that better be shooting £500 more than Negative Airsoft's gun. It better be, and it won't be, you know? And so I spent so much time, and then it was, after everything, it was just really noisy, and I found out the axle on one of these fucking bevel gears, because these guns are 15 years old nearly, the axle has just slightly broken away, and it was rocking such, you never know, it's so small.
Just a tiny, like, you'd never notice, but it's there.
Yeah. And then fixed that, and then his gearbox casing broke on one side at the front because it's old, but it's also a GMP. So you can't just put a new gearbox casing into a GMP, because especially in the case of the Stoner, but any of their guns, if you look at it, you change the casing over, and they are slightly longer on a GMP. You put a Lonex in there, it's a little tiny bit shorter. And then you look, it actually points up very slightly when you change the gearbox casing, because it's all made by them. No one else made their shit. So you can't just change parts. And this is where the rose-tinted lenses come in, because the thing was so good then. GMP was the pinnacle 10, 15 years ago, but now you can't just buy a part and put it in. Back then, if you needed to put, back then, a high cap mag was £48 for some guns. You'd never pay that now. The same thing you buy now for a tenner, and it works better. So you've got this thing, and you change it to one part. The gearbox casing fractured at the front on one side. I was like, shit. So I got a new gearbox casing, and it's got a different size bearing in it. So I had to change both sides of the casing, and that means changing everything I've done. That is reshimming, starting again. And now that I've modified his tappet plate to be best against his replacement gear that went, a gear set that went, and now I can't use that tappet. I've got his...
Because it's a different,
snowball.
I've literally just had a similar problem on the, I'm going to get this right this time, Golden Eagle M4.
Gas, electric, obviously,
yeah. The one with the god-awful MOSFET in it, that one.
Oh, don't. Do you know what?
Spare gear.
Those gearbox casings and the ETU, better than the Aries. Do you need a spare? Yep, you can get the casing and the ETU for about 12 quid. Excellent. Put it in the Aries, for fuck's sake, it's so much better. Can you put a different gearbox in there straight away? Kinda. Depends on what you're going to put in there.
So this is where it begins. VFC shell, I had a spare, because I fucking hate VFCs. I really do. Every time a SIG comes across the bench, MPX, MCX, whichever, I say, right, you're going to want a high-end build. They always do. It's fine. You know, they want the brushless, all that. I went, right, the shell is coming out, so I have a pile of VFC shells, because I don't trust them. I simply don't trust them.
It's weird, isn't it? That's the only bit I do fucking keep. It's so weird. And it's not that you're doing something wrong and I'm doing it right. It's just about the way the stars align, almost, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's I've never had a casing and air break. I've had a warp in the middle.
You'll probably have never seen a VFC. Yeah, that's exactly what's happened to me. But anyway,
okay.
So I've had a couple of VFCs come across my bench in the space of a year. I had about 4 VFCs come across my bench, and they said, my gun's broke, can you fix it for me? Yeah. I open it up, front of the gearbox just goes thunk off into the
distance. That's the bit I've never had. Never.
It's happened on like 4 builds in a row. Different styles of M4. And I went, nah, not happening. So I just went, I'm struggling to trust VFC. So if you want a VFC build that's high end, what I call high end, so brushless, MOSFET, etc., you're changing the shell.
Yeah.
So I've got a pile of these things anyway to get back round to it. Put this VFC shell in this.
I'll buy those casings. I find they work perfectly fine for what I do and the way I do it. So I might have those off you.
Yeah, I'll dig them out and send them you.
Same as last time. Exact same as last time. Look, like the fucking memes, my lip just gets stuck to my fucking teeth for no reason. It's not even the fucking stupid vampire vacuum. Fuck it, I've got no fucking up here. It's not even the fucking vampire fan. My lip just gets stuck to my teeth. Carry on. Same thing last week. See? Continuity. Carry on.
God, you're fucking good at throwing me off. Anyway, trying to get my brain back into gear. Don't you fucking start. Anyway, the gearbox casing was warped. So I'd built the gun. I was trying to get the shimming right. I was going, why isn't the shimming right? Bevel to pinion's lovely. I know it's like take it or leave it on bevel to pinion. Some people do it a certain way. You could argue to the hills, but it was correct. Adjust the motor, even if sometimes you can wind it in a bit, wind it out a bit.
Yeah,
just wasn't behaving. I went, I've heard about casings warping on VFC. I've not seen any yet. Got a
Some of
steel
my
rule
first
out bit on the top,
videos,
and it
that was
like
where I
that.
started picking up, because like VFC are quite good. And then I started seeing, why can't I fucking shim it? And then you realise, boink.
Yeah, that's what had happened on the top face. So the bevel gear was sort of sitting rock-eyed, and I just went, nope, you're coming out. Thankfully, I think it was Nuprol actually, have G&G shells, the V2 shells, on offer at the minute.
Really?
So, and I'd
I
already
love
ordered
the G.
a couple.
They're good
Yeah,
shells. They're
pick 'em up.
fucking good shells.
Mm.
Yeah.
So basically what I did was I had already grabbed a couple of them anyway, because my audio just turned right down. Sorry, it's my shitty headphones. Yeah, I'd already ordered a couple, so yeah, that went in. Sounds great. But I'd lost 4 hours on the build. Like, you're not going to get back, but the job's done, and I'm happy with the sound now.
Yeah.
I'd rather take the hit, but keep my
That's exactly
reputation
what I said to you in the voice note earlier on as well.
Intact.
Because the thing you wanted to touch on as well is the what do you do to become an airsoft tech? What did you need to know?
Yes.
And the thing that I think the most important thing is, apart from don't be a jack of all trades, get really good at one fucking thing. And when you really think you know that shit, give it another year, couple of years, then start toying with other shit. But don't forget to learn new shit over here, because I learn new shit every day, because every day I do something stupid. We've met me before. I'm obviously stupid. I look stupid. I sound stupid. I do stupid things. I'm stupid. And yeah, the biggest thing is learn that some days you're going to lose money. And again,
that's half the game. It's for me, I'd rather lose 4 hours pay and have a better reputation at the end of the job and get that good Trustpilot review. Because it means more to me as for my, how to describe it, like your integrity. You know, you don't want to sort of ruin your name by saying,
review is good for
this is
a bad. No one likes a bad review, but it's good for you, because you go, what can I do to avoid that later, providing it's a real review and not some wanker who's never fucking met you, which happens. But yeah, I mean,
thankfully, I'm nowhere near big enough to get such problems as of yet. But that's just because I'm sort of small time still.
Somebody in a country I've never even fucking been to. I don't even know anyone from the country, and they just didn't like something I said on the internet and left me a bad Google review. They set up a page to leave me a bad review, and it's like, you twat, I haven't even got a fucking Google review page, and I don't know who you are.
There's some dickheads on the internet, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's so let's lead on to something I've been wanting to chat to you about for years, to be honest, is because
it's really
I would have known
quite short.
Things. Pardon?
It's really wide but quite short. I know what your problem is. It's okay, because mine's obviously the width is good, the length is phenomenal, but it's the shininess of the tip, you know. Look at my name on the screen. Look, all 3 inches. Is it all 3 inches today? What is it today? Negative, just the tip airsoft. See, factual.
Very smooth.
When it's shinier, it goes in better. That's why you always have to polish the inside of your gearbox casing. Oh wait, that's nonsense.
So, yes, I will say that is a little bit nonsense. Airsoft techs, someone out there is going to want to start a company.
I just grabbed my new tattoo because I'm a knobhead. Keep that in. Made me dribble. That was really good.
What's the first bit of advice you'd give them? As someone who's wanting to start a company, they've not even registered the company yet, they're doing a bit of cash in hand work for the mates. What's the first bit of advice you'd give them?
Don't take any money. If it's your first few jobs, don't do it. Don't take any money, and make sure it can go either way. I mean, it's better for you if the custom suppliers are the parts, but if you do something wrong and you break it, you fucking owe them. So it might be better for you to supply the parts and try and make just a tiny bit of profit, because so many parts make you fuck all profit. I make good profit on the parts that I've designed or gone into with somebody else and designed between us and had made those profit. They make some money. And because we've gone so all in to make sure they're as best as they can fucking be, because of that, we can then go, right, well, you know, if one breaks down, but they don't. But there are so many things that You know, I've never ever had a seamer hardened steel piston rack break. You can't just drop that piston into anything. It probably won't fit a lot of things. You do have to make some mods, but they don't break. How much profit do I make per piston? £1.
Yeah.
You know,
But
hot
sometimes you
rubbers,
can't have the reliability than the profit.
hot rubbers will fuck you up, you know, because if you put an O-ring in the piston and it tears up in the first week, it doesn't cost you anything to fix it, but it's embarrassing. No matter how much you grease it or don't grease it, it's embarrassing. A hot rubber, you don't have to have anything to do with it, and a hot rubber can just fold over. It can just do that. A hot rubber can just one bad BB, one overloaded mag, you know, all that crap that we come into every single day, and you don't want to lose face, so you go, there's no warranty on rubber parts, dude. They're consumable, and they go, only had it a week. First time I've used it. Isn't it always the first time they've used it when it goes wrong? Isn't it always? Oh, I know you did this for me 7 years ago. It's the first time I've used it. Get on your fucking bike, mate. Piss off, you cunt. Piss off. It's always people. The jobs I don't take on. Just skip back. It's like the jobs I don't take on. My son. How old is your son? He's 12. No. If your son is 14 or older, I'll consider it, because Daddy Lion will always look after Baby Lion. Even if Baby Lion has been a knobhead and trying to bite the other lion's bollocks, Daddy Lion will always defend Baby Lion. And the amount of times I had it where, and you always hear the same thing, oh, he's a good lad, you know, he stays under my bed, he's a good lad and he doesn't touch anything and blah, blah, blah. It's the first time he's used it, it's not working. And you go, well, it's just, this one has got, for example, it's one thing about parent hybrids, I wish they had a round counter. It's the only thing I want, a round counter. Anything else that's got a round counter, you look at the app and go, how many times have you used it? Oh, you just have to be taking it out. Lasted half a day. I've really put a couple of mags through it, and it's like, because I can see that just today, just that one day before it broke, he fired 3,000 rounds in the morning. But it has 34,000 rounds. Must be like that before. You just saw me open the box, cunt. No way. No fucking way. Your son's been taken out from under the bed, and then Daddy gets very angry because you are literally insulting his cock goblin. And no, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. That is the figures. We didn't put any BBs in. You said he didn't touch it at all. Now, why is he dry firing it? You know? But when it's a hot rubber and it just goes, you have to go, I'll change it. If a hot rubber at trade, I've just taken on those, I haven't bothered to read the name properly, but Quantum, they're orange and they come with another.
Are those orange ones? Yes. Mate of mine, Dom's just given me the AEG one. He doesn't rate the AEG ones.
I really think they're good.
I've got one in the box to test, but I've not got around to it.
They're perfectly fine. It depends. Like, I didn't like Mr. Hops. I hated them because everything I put them in, they didn't fucking work. And I don't know what happened because I stopped getting in Mr. Hops and went back to Macaron 60s and 50s and 70s and whatever. And at that point, people started, I've already bought the hot rubber. I'm like, I'll try it. And they just worked. And I'm like, yeah. So maybe they just changed the design. Maybe it was me. Who knows? But now Mr. Hops look better. They seem to fire better. It's a hot rubber. It can take absolutely fuck all to make it not work. And if you've paid £5 for a hot rubber and you're selling it at £8, that's £3. But you look at what people, the people who buy in the bulk that most techs can't afford. You know, if you buy 10,000 fucking hot rubbers, you're going to get them at £1 each. If you buy the exact same brand at 500, you're going to get them for about £4. When you're ordering 100 at a time, 50, you're paying £6.50 for a rubber you've got to sell at £7.50 because other people are selling it at £7. And you're like, fuck. And if it goes wrong once on the first day you're using it, you can't prove anything.
Money lost.
That's it. You're paying for it.
This is a massive problem I've had. So obviously Nemesis Tactical has only been running officially for about 3 and a bit years. I've been teching for the thick end of 13 years, but I decided at that sort of mark, I went...
And like I said, the shaft on yours is very, very thick. It's just the length that was the problem, whereas mine, the shaft was fine, but it's the length that's very good. It's the shiny helmet. Carry on.
Very shiny. Anyway, bell end you are. Oh, you keep throwing me
Even
off.
if you don't keep this in, I'm filming. I fucking will.
I'll keep it in. You need to you'll understand. So, if you see how unhinged some of our co-hosts are on the channel, you'll get it. Then you'll think this is quite tame. So, the problem I had when I was
like
setting
tame,
up,
we say. Tame, like being in the pit.
I have to. Don't you fucking know? So, the cash flow was what fucked me up.
Mhm.
So, someone going into it, if they were setting up their own company, what sort of financially, how much do you think they'd need to start an airsoft company? I made the stupid fucking mistake of starting with 800 quid. Then I had to do loads of jobs and just buy the kit in for because I tend to buy. I'll quote for the parts that I prefer to fit for the individual job. They'll pay me for the parts money. I'll order the parts. This is back in the day. I'd order the parts.
Get the person to order their own parts, because if you're confident in your skill, if you're not confident in your own skills or you're overconfident, you're going to fuck it up regardless, I guess. So if you are, if you're too confident, bad. Not confident enough, bad. But get them to order their own parts. If somebody brings me a gun that I am not, it's not that I'm not confident with what I'm doing, but if I go, this is a shit gun, you realise that, right? I'll get them to order their own parts. If somebody goes, I want a Gate Titan, I'll go, you fucking get it. If somebody goes, I want a T238 motor, I go, well, you fucking get it. All right? And you are paying for my expertise. You're paying for what, generally speaking, I believe I can give you. And you're paying for that expertise. Get them to supply everything themselves. But you've got to be right. You've got to be right. But that is where you start bringing the money in. Now, I was lucky because although I come from a family where my mother's posh and my dad was a traveller, we never had any money. We had nothing growing up, which is why I look like me and sound like me, but I'm me. And it's where you get this moment of you get the very first job where someone actually puts some faith in you, and you actually get to make some real money that isn't minimum wage. And when that begins to happen, that's when you start putting more into it. That's where it flows in. And I was lucky because somebody had faith in me prior. That meant that my bank account wasn't in the minus thousands. And it was just not even looking at your bank account and going, I've only got a tenner in there. It doesn't say minus 3,000. Fuck me, you know. When you get to that phase, that's the one thing. The money is important. It does help. So I was lucky in my case whereby I was already earning good money through airsoft means without touching any tech work stuff. But whilst I was doing that job, I could also do the sacred bad thing that I whinge about, and that is site techs. I need your help now. And you go, I can help you now, but, you know, and so you help the person on site now, cheap, get them the game done. And just like somebody found out recently, they're more than happy to say nice things and get you in the game. When you say to somebody, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, and they go, please, 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 and you go, don't blame me when it goes wrong. And then when it does go wrong, they do blame you. And we've all had it. We've all had it. And so I was lucky that I was able to go, right, I've got some money in the bank. And I only started Negative Airsoft as a joke. I did it because I was bored, nothing else to do, in between sites, just bought the company, let's see what happens. I've got nothing to do. So I did it as a giggle. And then when I realized that if you're rude to people and you make everything into a really offensive joke, then actually you need to learn who your target audience is, I guess, is where it goes.
Yeah.
My target audience is not HPA users. My target audience is not GBBR elitists. My target audience is not TM recoils and the most top-end builds. My target audience was always, how cheap can we make your gun so much better? But because of the stupid shit that I was doing and showing the stupid shit that I could do and building the things and making things do things, that were like the P90 that fired lasers out the side for no reason, because I felt, well, let's do this thing. Let's do this. Because of that, people expected more and more, and your ego will get you, and you've kind of got to do it. So this is why I'm more than happy to do the Novrich AEG warranty work, because it's like, thank Christ. I haven't got to think. I can just rinse and repeat
it's
back to factory standard. The
and
job is factory standard. I love it.
steady stream of income.
You know,
I mean, when I first started the tech business as such, so Nemtech, I went, right, I will cover the local site rentals. So I'll do my local site. In exchange, I get free game days. So that was how I made it sort of the hobby pay for itself. Because that's how most people start, let's be honest. You go, how can I make my hobby pay for itself?
Did it piss you off when the site owners never complained that AEG you fixed for the 30th time's broken again? They never really complained. They understand, they do. But it's when people complain that rental guns on sites are shit, because, well, yeah, you're not going to get the best fucking brand new shoes at the bowling alley. You're going to get the ones that stink. That's what you're going to get, and you're going to like it. Your bowling ball's going to chip out of it.
It's that between you and the site owner going,
yeah,
you need to spend some money on these because they're held together by duct tape.
I always said to my boss at the time, Lee, who owned Zed, I always said to him, you know, there has to be a time when we make note, we numbered the guns, so that A, if they went missing, but we knew who had which gun and whatever else. But realistically, we knew at that point that how many times you could use that gun. We never logged it or anything. It's just me and other people memorizing. But you can go, right, this batch of guns, they've been used on this many weeks. And the idea is that you buy the rental guns, you buy, say, 20 rental, which we always use G36s. Because they're the most faultless thing you can use, but they don't like being dropped on marble floors, which only our site had to fucking deal with. Outside, you can drop it 1,000 times. But we didn't have to deal with dirty barrels and dirty hot rubbers and all that shit. And foliage wasn't ever an issue. So it was a gift of the curse. And we go, right, we've used all of these rental guns. We've paid at the time, a G36, a JG would cost you $89.99 at retail. And now it's double that. And we didn't have the Seamers then, which are better. But we had these JGs. And if we use those for 6 months, any profit that was made on those G36s would go to buy another 20. And now you've got 40 rental guns, but 20 are brand new and 20 are crap. And if you've got, say, at the mall, it was like 25 rentals on site for 100 players. Yeah. That's 25 out there. You need to have at least 10 spare, at least, and understand.
So if someone comes and goes, "Oh, whatever's broke."
50 spare batteries, 50 batteries total a day is what you need because you're using those.
Now, this is a question because I know you help at sites, or I think you've got an interest in a site anyway. I'm not quite
I'd rather work than I would play. It was what we discussed last time. I'd rather go and fuck
with a rental. Do you go for old school batteries, or do you go for a LiPo with a LiPo alarm, or
I think now sites go for things like, I know the Red Alert have gone with the Double Eagle M series because, you know, if someone's been 5 rounds in the air at a time, short bursts, 5 rounds, they go 1, 2, no, not seconds, very apt, because my shaft is good width. The length is fantastic. Top for a shiny, yours short fat. And so with that, you've got to think about what the guns are doing and what the Reynolds players are doing. And if they're gonna cheat and be cunts, then you can take one of those Double Eagles and go, right, now you're on 3-shot burst, mate. And if they still carry on spamming people, right, now you're on semi, mate. And you have that option. We didn't have that option before. Not in a standard gun. Not in a standard gun. The only option was areas that could give them semi and 3-shot burst or semi, but it's an areas it wouldn't last 30 seconds with anyone, let alone rental player. So I think that in those cases, I don't even know if you can use Nimmies because no one does anymore, but I would always go Nimmies. Yes, they're more expensive. Yes, they don't last as long, but you are not going to have your first-time players or reoccurring rental players, because every site gets rental players that have been playing for 5 years and only ever rented because that's what they like, You're not going to get them setting on fire in the game zone. Yeah. They're not going to suddenly go, oh, my entire body's engulfed in flames because my LiPo's gone off. And with an enemy, you can do that. You've got to spend more on each individual battery and double the amount of batteries, but you know what? your players don't look like charcoal at the end of it. You know, you don't look like a fucking captured insurgent hanging up by
reminds me of the
on a
time
bridge.
I'd just built this rifle. It was like a 417 style, where the trigger unit's like a separate block.
Yeah,
to
the
Gearbox.
BFC
I
things.
can't remember the exact brand. Yeah,
It's
I
BFC.
can't remember exactly what it was.
The G28 and the 417.
I'd just fit an inline MOSFET. I think it was the Pico SSR 3, the non-active braking one. I just wanted something to protect the contacts.
Had the gun ever been fired ever prior to you fitting the MOSFET?
Yes, for a game day.
Yeah, waste of time. The carbon's already built up. It's doing its thing. You've already got the burning out.
Yeah.
Again, I love inline MOSFETs, and I've gone down that route now. I've gone, nope. Now I understand. I completely understand now. It's an inline MOSFET if I absolutely fucking need to. Otherwise, you don't need to. You just don't.
I'll tend to fit them. If someone wants an M249 with a micro switch trigger, and then they'll go, "Oh, can you fit an inline MOSFET?" I'll tend to go, "No, it's not worth it. It's a micro switch. Buy a new fucking one."
£1.75 for one fucking micro switch.
But things like the 417, I thought, well, makes sense because it's a really fucking weirdly proprietary part, and it's not my favourite word. Let's protect them as best we can. I thought, yes, it's been used, it's already broke, but let's just do the best we physically can to get it right. Anyway, long story short, the guy had wedged a battery down there, pulled the battery out, and damaged the cable in the process because he had far too big a battery for whatever he was doing with it. And it caused a small lipo fire because it fucking yanked the positive lead off of his lipo, and it arced out somehow. So he brought it to me at lunchtime. I went, "Don't worry, mate, I'll sort it." I had a soldering iron on me. I'm looking at this thing. It was all fine. The loom was fine. It was his lipo that was bad. And I went, I'll just go onto the shooting range. No, he literally pulled the fucking buff tube off and just yeeted this lipo as far as he could. But anyway, I'm on the firing range, put my lipo on. Yeah, it's dry firing fine. Come back in, sit down in the back of my van, go to unplug the lipo. My mate's vaping behind me. And he goes, "Is that rifle right? I see smoke." And I go, "Fuck," and launch this brand new lipo across a car park for no reason at all. So yeah, don't let your mates vape near you while you're fixing guns. It gives you heart attacks.
Yeah. Because other people are dickheads, more so than you normally, and in my case, that's very, very difficult. I'm a dickhead. I love it. I love it so much. But no, I mean, that's the thing. You've got to then put your see, I can keep track of what was going on in the conversation before you notice that. So this week, anyway, last week, fucked. Couldn't be drunk all day because tattoos. I'll be drunk afterwards. So you take your rental gun profit and you put that towards more guns. Now you've got 60 guns, 20 are brand new, 20 are medium, 20 are old. Take them out of circulation, spare parts. Dinky, 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 dink. But you get to learn a lot about the guns just by doing the rentals. You get to learn so much. Like something a JG does, I don't think any other G36 I've ever worked on has done. They go, right, this gun fires in double tap or 3-shot burst or full auto on semi. Okay, so you put a label on it, write what the problem is, give them a new gun, want to come in the week and look after the police, the military, whatever they're doing that week. I'll sit and fix the guns. I pick up the gun, fires burst or full auto. Put battery in, zip, 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 zip.
Doesn't do it.
It's perfect. What's the problem? Perfect. Back in the rack. Next weekend, it's the same one again, Luke. It's still firing full auto in semi. No, it's not. You get a battery, plug it in, zip, 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 zip. It's perfect. What's wrong with you? And only JGs do it that I've noticed. And it's always G36s, and I don't know why. As soon as the BB in the chamber and the cutoff lever's worn down, it works perfectly with no mag and no BB. You can literally take a BB and put it in the chamber manually. And then you pull the trigger on a semi, it double taps until the chamber's empty, and now it does full auto. Those things are 100% not related mechanically, electrically, in any way. But for some reason, a little tiny bit of extra air that when the BB's in the chamber and it gets a little bit of air block, it means that then the cut-off levers moved slightly somehow,
delays the
and I
system
don't know to this
that bit
day,
more.
and it does burst fire. And you go, shit. So you go out and you buy a big fucking load of cut-off levers, V3 cut-off levers. These are all steel. These are great. You've got a sack of them, and you've got 30 guns to do, all with cut-off levers. You change it, and you realise when you buy a V3 cut-off lever, they all are fucking AK-shaped. And you've got
and
to
they don't finish.
fucking...
I've done that multiple times. I've got a box full
Trim
of
them
them.
up a little bit. I'd like some V3 cut-off levers for V36, please. No problem. Here's 50. Thank you very much. You cunts. You bastards. You bastards. I'd never go back to not having ETUs anymore. And obviously when I started doing Negative Airsoft, I was like, I don't do internal ETUs. And it was because I didn't trust Titans. I knew that ASCUs were wank. And as everything's progressed, you change your mind on things because technology changes, but also as you learn. And the only ETUs I'd ever used were always ASCUs, and they never fucking worked.
No,
you have
to buy the quantum trigger, and it won't have it unless you have a quantum trigger because the fucking sensor doesn't read. Yes, I've been there.
And then the ASCU doesn't work with the quantum trigger for no reason. You go, why? And it's because the paper on the quantum trigger, and if you get the ones direct from Gates, it's a nice shiny paper, it stays white. You get the quantum style triggers that were in the Spectre arms that came with Astas, and it's just normal sticky back paper. So it absorbs the grease and turns black and stops working. And you go, really? You've paid the money to have Astas, and you've made your own triggers to fit in your guns, and you skimped out on what is effectively a penny. Paper.
The main part of the operating system to tell it to they fucked it up.
Awful. Drives me mental, and that's it. 29% battery. We have to wrap it up.
29.
We have to wrap it up. Because my wife's going to arrive. She won't know where I am.
Do you want to reschedule for another one at some point? Because I thoroughly enjoy these, and I think there is.
I'm more than happy. These guys are happy to have me here. It seems like it works.
There is nowhere near enough nerdy techie talk online as a podcast. One of the things that made me reach out to you before we wrap up, I'll sum up on this, is when I first got to Airsoft Tech, I acted for a podcast.
Wait, so I've got to be Negative Airsoft, not nice right now. Okay, carry on.
I used to put my earphones in because it's going off in the background, whatever, because obviously I sublet a bit of the workshop.
Don't lose concentration.
And I'd be cracking on with a rifle gearbox, just listen to a podcast. And there's just none of that anymore as far as Airsoft's concerned for techs. There's just not.
Every YouTube channel that you see for tech stuff, they want to show you how great it is.
Yeah, they want to show you how great it is, how great they are.
And I want to show you what go wrong. I want to show you the mistakes. I want to show you what I did, because I'm fucking golden. I'm perfect all the time. But we know I'm not. And I want to show you when it goes wrong, because if I didn't expect it, there's no fucking way you will. You know, and I don't mean you personally, obviously, but, you know, there's no way the viewer's not going to, you know, you believe this shit. You believe in Sorbo pads. And that's why is it the YouTube channel? I think it's a Canadian guy, the Airsoft Tech, I think it's called. I think it's his channel. I'm not going to say for sure, but I think it is. He's always been Sorbo, and piston, put it here, draw a line. Yeah. And when my channel started doing what I do, going, why? Because that's bollocks. And his reasons, I'm not going to say it's definitely him, but keep this in the video anyway, but I'm not going to say it's definitely him, but I think it is. He actually went in and went, he's right. I've been shown this thing.
So that chap, he was sort of the guy who I learnt off the Airsoft Tech, because he's got the DSG Dream Team.
Yeah. I watched loads of that stuff because he's got some fucking good info.
Yeah, but he's a very, very good tech, but he stopped doing it recently. Well, I don't think he's uploaded in about a year, because I will periodically go and check his channel to see if he's done anything new. Because, you know, when you find the original channel and you go and check to see if they're still going.
Yeah.
And if he'd never watched something like this, but yeah, he's a massive reason that I started.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't start teching this video. I started teching because I broke everything because I was a cunt. And I broke everything, and then I needed somebody else to fix it, and I'd break it again because I'm a cunt.
Yeah, that's so pretty much. I had a broken gun, I had an ICS Galil, the wood kit one,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
support version,
That bastard.
and I'd taken it to a tech
Yeah.
a couple of times in a row, got burnt every time, spent a fortune on it, still wasn't working right, and I went, right, YouTube, I'll do it myself. And that was 13 years ago. But yeah, he's been a massive reason why I'm here
I'd
where I am
watch his
now.
videos, it all made sense. But I couldn't quite make the Sorbo thing work perfectly every time.
No.
Sometimes it did,
I
sometimes it didn't.
thought,
But then I started really questioning it, and I started going, but we're thinking about, you want that contact between gear and piston, you want that. But what happens when that pulls back? And you've removed most of, like, you've got a tooth missing and most of this one. You've got nothing to grab onto.
no,
And you're not thinking about the pressure of the spring pushing it forward. And this is when I started doing it. And then, again, apparently it is because and then people parroting me, he's gone, do you know what, that's fucking right. And he's actually he's not taken the video away, he's just put another video up. And that takes massive bollocks.
He does. He says, right, I've changed my mind. And I think people don't do that enough, where they say, I've changed my mind.
I've done it a couple of times, but not in such a big way that he did. And I'm sure it must be the same person.
I know exactly what you mean.
So I was like, I appreciate that.
M4 that he'd put forward, he'd build silly DSGs. I know exactly who you're on about.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So much respect there.
It was a massive...
He should show him the video, fucking set, I don't know. Because he has not only influenced a lot of people, but he's helped a lot of people. When I had a few issues that I couldn't figure out, I watched his videos.
He was one of the... I first came to that sort of problem with brushless, where the tappet plate time was the thing.
Yeah.
Straight to his channel. I went, the Airsoft Tech must have seen it. And that was his podcast I used to watch. He used to do a podcast purely about tech stuff.
I've never seen a podcast in my life apart from ones I've been in, and I've had to watch it back.
It was just an audio version, so you could just put an earphone in, listen to a bunch of techs talk purely about autistic tech stuff. So you'd pick up the odd bit of information as you're working, which was incredibly helpful for me anyway.
Yeah.
It's not going to be helpful for everyone. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea.
But like I say all the time, how many times have you sat there staring at a gearbox going, why is it not working? And for the next 2 days, you repeat the same thing you've already done 1,000 times. But if somebody had the same problem on their gun on the internet and asked the question, your brain isn't here, your brain is over there. And you read that thing and you go, well, this is what I do. Fuck. And that's why sometimes it's good to walk away and come back. Because then you can go, right, if you're staring at it, tunnel vision, blinkers are on, you're the horse, and you're going to fucking run over there. You know, you need to be able to see other things and change your own perception. And so, when he put a thing up saying this actually might not be right, you know, and in some cases,
the way he looked at it was from purely an engineer's perspective, and it was very sort of self-explanatory. The way he went about explaining how his thought process worked through the way he did it, you sort of go, yes, that's it. That's exactly how.
Electricians will tell me all the time that how I describe how electricity works in an airsoft gun is wrong because they can wire a house. And I go, that's fantastic information. Thank you. If you give me a real gun, I can absolutely make that safely blank fire anytime you want. If you give me a real gun and say, make it hit the target over there and not kill the user, I can't do it because I've never done it and I don't have an opinion. I've been shown how to make something blank fire with the little screw and bits and how to thread the bit. And that's all I have to use, how to thread things, because you have to do that in the barrel to put the fucking cone in. And, you know, give me a real gun and say, make it shoot over there accurately and not kill the person using it. I can't do it. I wouldn't know how. And electricians, I can't wire a house, but I can definitely put your ETU in and tell you how and why your battery is the best bet. And unfortunately, they cannot tell you that because they've been taught something at school by a professor. Here's the written word. Here's how it is, and this is the only way. And it's like, no. This is why all these philosophers, you know, this is why you study philosophy, and that is no reason other than going, why? That's it. Philosophy. That's the whole idea. Why? And that's it. There's nothing else, you know. But yeah, we'll do another one because I don't mind doing this at all. Absolutely fine.
I really enjoy this sort of stuff because it's my bread and butter. I'm actually going to get Sam booked on, Sam Liggett, for a
He's a
podcast
nice
at some
guy.
point, similar style to this. What I was thinking of doing is eventually, because I sort of had this sort of
Get loads of
brainworm
cunts together to
today.
go. "Mm."
Yes, all the autistic airsoft techs, all of them,
We'll do a
And we
nice
just
one and a
have-
mean one.
and then we just have a day where we all just chat autism
Yeah.
all day about things, and maybe we'll reach
Yeah.
some sort of interesting conclusion.
Because we've all
I don't
got a
know,
thing
maybe
you
it'll
don't
entertain
want to
some
do.
people.
There are some people who don't want to fit a brushless motor, they don't trust them. There are some people who are not interested in ECUs, they don't want to do it. And there are some people like me that don't want to take. I'll take a brushless motor apart all day. I'll change the individual components on an ECU and all that all day. No problem. I don't know what it does, but I know how to fit it. I don't want to take apart a brushed motor. I hate it. I don't like doing it. I really hate it. And if there's any way that I don't have to take a brushed motor apart, I bloody will, because I just don't like it. Because as soon as I take it apart, one little bit of speck of metal comes out the air and goes, no, you fucked. And that's the end of it. I hate it and I won't do it. Everyone's got that
Yeah,
thing.
the problem I have with brush motors is the tools to take them apart fall to bits as you use them.
Yeah. Every time.
Pinion pullers.
CNC steel. The Garda one's not too bad. CNC steel. And yeah, great. No problem at all. But if the CNC steel is all the shit off the floor, it's been
It's fucking
melted.
made of tin.
How many times have you tried to take that? Okay, well, I'll just take off this O pinion. Everyone, you fit an O pinion, it's better. No, it's because D pinion wasn't better then. But now with what the motor can do in brushless, you don't need a fucking O. You don't fucking need it. And you tighten that tool on to take the O off, and you're like, I've blowtorched it. I can see it wobble. But when I tighten that tool in, the tool bends. I've just spent 40 quid on this fucking tool. I couldn't fix a £10 motor. What the fuck is it? I'll buy another one. And then £3,000 later. Don't you reckon that this over here, that there, look at that. You see it? Look at that. I'm staring at that going,
Yes.
a cat. But it also
Cat.
looks like a cow that's been eviscerated with his little legs up there. And look,
Oh, you've thrown
there's
it
his
off.
bollocks.
Right, let's round up the podcast before we forget.
Yeah,
because we're gonna go
my
on
wife's
sidetrack.
phoning me, so
Anyway.
that never argue with a Portuguese wife.
We'll organise the podcast. I'm going to try and sort an autistic tech podcast with all the boys.
Yeah, sounds good.
So, all right, dude. You take care.
Have a nice day.
Don't forget, you log off. I'll outro.
Shut up.
So, that being that, you could fuck off. So, that being that, thank you for tuning in for the Nemcast. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. And go check out Luke's channel at Negative Airsoft. And hopefully soon, we'll have Sam on from Kingdom of Airsoft for a podcast. And very soon, we have the podcast with Larry Hastings. That'll be a good one. So, cheers, chaps. I'll speak to you soon.